What is going on YouTube? And today I'm going to be teaching you how to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator X series. Right now in Boeing 747 and I am in General Mitchell Airport in Wisconsin and we'll be flying out to Chicago O'Hare International Airport, which is only 30 minutes away from here in real time. And we're going to be with you the whole flight. I'm going to be with you the whole flight. I'm going to be teaching you and showing you every single stuff in the airplane that you might be able to use while flying in the air and on the ground as well. Right away I want to say that I do not use FS passengers, so it will not be as much fun as it is with it. But I mean the purpose of this video is just educational, and I want to let people know how to take off, how to set your GPS route to the airport that you need to, and how to land in the destination airport. So currently I'm in a cockpit. So if you're flying with, if you're trying to start flying with Microsoft Flight Simulator X, sorry, in Microsoft Flight Simulators, I would suggest you trying to fly first with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004, because it's pretty simple and it's more for user friendly, and I was learning on it as well, and then I switched to Microsoft Flight Simulator X. What I should say that the graphics are much better than in 2004. The views are more different. The cameras, the Microsoft Flight Simulator X actually offers a new 3D cockpit view as it is now, which 2004 does not offer. And as well, it offers some more stuff like sceneries, landscapes, and I don't know, ATC is more is much better than in 2004. But you'll see everything in our flight. So here we are. It's a new plane. I just loaded the game. Here is it, the Boeing. Alrighty, we're on the runway. We're ready to fly. So first thing I want to say that let's switch to the cockpit. First thing I want to say to you is that what I do. What I did understand when I actually learned to fly is, first things first, when you try to do any action from the ground to the air or from the air to the ground, you have to take a patience until you get it done in your airplane, in all the systems. I know it sounds ridiculous for the game, for the video game, but it is actually the real life here. And it's a simulator, like it says, Microsoft Flight Simulator. And before taking off, we have to set up our plane, which will take around 5 to 10 minutes for the takeoff, and we'll set up the route to Chicago O'Hare International. So first, let's start with setting up the plane, and then we'll switch to GPS, and then we'll go from that. I did not prefer using 3D cockpit, although you can actually zoom in to any button here and you can actually use them, but I think that 2D cockpit is much more useful, much more user friendly, and it's much more easy to control on the fly. So to use the 2D cockpit, you have to press Shift 1. Again, Shift 1 opens up the 2D cockpit, and here we are. As you can see, it's more user friendly. So all these radars are useful during the flight. All these buttons, as you can see, if you've never saw them. So first of all, this radar is the level of your airplane. So if it turns right, it will go right. If it turns left, it will go left. It will go. If it will go down, the nose will go down. It will go down, and the same for the up part. The purple meanings here mean the autopilot desired altitude and speed. So if we set autopilot to fly in 5,000, it will say 5,000 here, and this is your real-time altitude, and the same with the speed. It will say this desired speed here, and this is your real-time speed rolling down from here. This is your radar. You'll see an airplane flying around you, and an airport, your runway, and so far, like, I guess there's nothing to see anymore. And this is your engines, which is more important than this too. And you have to make sure when you're flying, if you're not turning on auto throttle control, you have to make sure that your engines don't run at this high end bar like the red one, because if they do, then the plane might go stall, which will fall down, and or it might burn out the engine. But if you're playing on a basic level, then it will cause nothing, but still you have to remember, do not put it on the this red bar. So let's start. So first of all, we will be flying today on GPS using our Garmin GPS navigator. So first of all, I would switch from nav to GPS. There's also actually the way flying with nav, but I prefer more flying with GPS because it's more understandable, kind of. So we'll switch to GPS. Alright, we'll see that GPS appeared here, and then we'll set up the plane. So first we set up the autopilot and how do we want the plane to fly during our flight. So this is the altitude. You can actually change it from here by pressing to the right, it will increase, to the left it will decrease, or just scrolling your mouse onto it. So I will fly on 3000 feet because it's not a long flight, so I prefer not flying too low. And my speed, which is down here, will be 300. Alright, just about it. Now vertical speed is adjusted automatically depending on your altitude, your speed, your throttle control, so don't touch that. So for now, autopilot, we got that. Then we have to switch on the nav button because it will make sure that the plane is controlled by GPS. In case if you don't switch it on, then GPS won't be able to control the plane. So make sure you turn on nav button. So flight director turned on. So far I'll turn it off. We'll turn it on when we fly out from the runway. Now heading is something that you would use in nav mode, so we don't touch that because we're flying on GPS one more time. Auto brakes, very important thing. During your takeoff, your auto brakes should be set to RTO. So we'll set it to RTO. 1, 2, 3 max means you're landing. When you land, you have to make sure that you set auto brakes to the desired position. Well, if it's snowing, then you would set it to 2 or 3. If the tower says that it's 2 IC, you would set it to max. Or if it's summer and it's nothing on the ground, it's just slicky ground, you would set it to 1. It's during landing, not takeoff. The takeoff will be RTO for, every time. So now we're done with autopilot, and now we'll go to the flaps. What flaps do, they actually allow the plane. So I'll show you the flaps. Just a second. Here we are. Here we are. So if you've flown in real time in the real world, you saw that the airplane, when taking off and when landing, would open these things up to the down part, and you would never understand why it does that. So what it does, it actually allows the plane to fly on the low altitude with the low speed. So if you're flying on 200 or 180, you'll still be able to fly more than you would fly without the flaps. So to open the flaps, you press Shift 4, which will open up the throttle control flaps and oops, sorry. Alright, I just activated full throttle. Alright, it's fine. So to open the flaps, this is the flap switch, and I would prefer opening up to, I don't know, too much, 33 is too much. Alright, I think 17 is perfect. This is our air brakes, so when you're landing you would use them if you're flying too fast. This is our parking brake, which will hold your plane still on the ground. And this is our throttle control, which will be also controlled by autopilot, so nothing to worry about it here. So Shift 4 closes that away, and as you can see, the flaps has opened a little bit, they extended. Let me show you that again. So, see, the flaps are opening up. Close them to 17%, sounds just perfect enough. Alright, Shift 4. Let's go back to the cockpit. So here we are, we're pretty much done in the cockpit. The only thing left to turn on the lights, which is L button, and it will turn on your landing and taking off lights. It will flash and stuff, so pretty amazing. So now, we're done with the plane. Now we have to set up the GPS system, which is a separate module in the airplane. If you press Shift 3, it will open up the Garmin GPS module. It looks like a it looks like a complicated thing, but it is actually not too complicated for you if you know how to control yourself in the during the flight with GPS module. So what we'll do now here, as we set our airplane to be controlled by GPS navigator, which is Garmin for now, we will make sure that the Garmin knows where we're flying. So we're flying to Chicago here, the Garmin will know that, and he will know which runway we're flying to, which runway we're landing on, so it can make the airplane's route to the straight to the runway, so we don't have to do that manually. So how first we set up the airport that we're flying to. You have to press this arrow button with arrow with D letter, Once you press this, you will see select D waypoint, ident facility, and city. Now you have there's 4 arrows here, right, left, big ones and small ones. Press small one once, and it will show you some destination. I don't know what it is. If you press it a lot, it will show you some airports. But as there are more than 25,000 airports registered in here, I will not search, of course. You can actually Google. So if you're flying to Chicago, you can Google Chicago's airport code, which is KORD, K-O-R-D. And as you can see, I tapped it right now and it showed me Chicago O'Hare International. So then we press enter, one more time enter, and we'll ask activate. Yes, we want to activate it right now. Activate. Alright, so I don't know if you can see here, you have the purple bar appeared up here, which will actually route you to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Now, this is not enough to, what this does, it actually connects your airplane to the tower, and airplane directs himself on the tower, but you will not be landing on the tower, so we have to select the runway that we're landing onto. In a real world, you would ask before approaching 25-30 miles before airport, you would ask the radio, would contact the tower, you would ask permission to land, and they will give you the runway to land on. But here is tutorial, so I won't do that things. I will just complete the runway thing now. So to assign the runway that you're landing onto, you have to press PROC button right over here, PROC. I will say select approach. Yes, we want to select approach, and then it will give you all the available runways in the desired airport. So in KORD, which is Chicago International, Chicago O'Hare International, and we'll be landing on 14R. Now the reason why I selected this runway, because it's more close to our route. It's just straight away. I think it's 60 degrees off our route, but the airplane will do that. And the second reason, that is one of the longest runways in Chicago O'Hare International. So we'll press enter, we'll select vectors, and then this is very crucial, it will ask you load or activate. We'll just activate it because I don't like to load things. I don't trust loading things because I can activate it very late and it will be running late and it will be installed. So I don't like this thing. I'll just activate it right away from here. Activate it. Perfect. So now it shows you the airport, and the plane will be the plane will be flying now to this waypoint, CHSTR, which after will be flying to runway 14R. It sounds complicated, but it's actually not. You don't have to do anything with that. It's just information about you for your route, what you'll be flying. So we'll close that up. Now, for GPS to better know where the runway is, you have to set up the radio frequency with the runway, which will actually guide your airplane to the runway, to the desired runway. Now to do that, you have to open the radio frequency installer. You have to press Shift 2. Now I know that the frequency of 14R in Chicago O'Hare International Airport is 109.75. How do you find it out? Let's see how you find it out. You just press 2D cockpit, which is Shift 1, and here you have this button called map. So if you press this, I don't want to press it now because if I do, the recording will stop. So if you press this, you will open up the map, and you can actually zoom out and go to the airport that you're flying to, zoom in and select the runway, double click on it, and it will show you the frequency of the runway. Now we'll close the cockpit, we'll go back to the radio. Now we'll be using here nav1 to put in your, once you know the frequency, that is 109.75 now, I'll put it in standby zone. Again, the same scrolling. Perfect. 109.75. Perfect. And then you press this double arrow, which will switch this to active. Here we go. It's an active, and then we'll press ID, which will activate your nav1. Make sure this is green lighted, because if it doesn't, then it will not activate your radio frequency. That's it. So you won't need the thing for any time in a flight. So you can just close it up and forget about it. And that's pretty much it. We're ready for the takeoff. Here we are. So let's just take it for the full throttle, which is F4. So you can actually control throttle with 4 buttons. F1, which will decrease your throttle into 0. F2, which will decrease it step by step. F3 will increase it step by step. And F4 is a full throttle. And I'm pressing it right now. And here we have a throttle. F4, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Alrighty. Now Boeing 747 with this payload that we have now, which is almost 0, will take off with a speed of 137 miles per hour. So let's see, when we reach 137, we can actually pull the controller and we can take off. 120, 130. Alright, I'll just start to pull my controller. So it's fully pulled here. Alrighty, perfect. We're taking off. Perfect. So as you take off, immediately take up your landing gear, which is G, and you will see this switch over here. It's G, and it will go up. And turn on your autopilot, which is Z button, or in your 2D cockpit it is CMD here. After you turn on your autopilot, you have to turn on hold switch. What this will do, it will actually assign this altitude that we assigned before. It was just 3000, and it will hold the altitude for the rest of the flight. And after, you have to take now see the red bars are on now. What we have to do, decrease it manually, or the best thing, we have to turn on auto throttle, which will control the throttles by itself. So now we'll turn on flight director, and we'll turn on speed, which is here, and we'll decrease the speed because I think we broke the limit of the speed for the desired altitude. Alright, so it says me brakes, it's giving air brakes to the airplane, and it will decrease the speed right away. So now the airplane, which is what I like here, is that airplane warns you about any mistake that you have done. So if I broke the limit, it will say me that you broke the limit, and here it says the action that it's taking to fix that problem. So as explained before, so okay, we'll turn on nav, so to make sure that GPS is controlling the airplane, and as we turn it on, you'll see that the airplane will start to turn. Perfect. So it started to turn, to make a U-turn, to make its way to the Chicago O'Hare International Airport. All right. Perfect. So overspeed is gone. We're on 350. I'll actually set it to 350. If it's fine, then I'll set it to 350. Perfect. So as I told you before, this pink numbers here, they reflect the desired altitude on the right and desired speed on the left. And this is the real-time altitude, real-time speed, where we're running now on 342 speed miles per hour and 3,000 feet from the sea level. So now we can see that actually our engines are doing fine, and if we look at our engine throttle controller, you can see that it is controlled by itself. It's just moving whenever needed. We can close our flaps. It's 0. And alright. Here we go. We're flying in the air. Now, from now on, you can prepare actual for landing. What you're gonna do, you can just set auto brakes to 1. I think 1 would be enough to, because it's summer, so 1 would be enough. And as you continue going, you'll see airplane directing himself by GPS. It will turn, it will decrease, no, it won't decrease, it will just turn whenever needed. And you should see from here how much is left until your next waypoint, which is right over here. The pink bar reflects your next waypoint, the next place where your plane has to land, where your plane has to reach, and this is the time, real world time, 11 minutes until you actually reach this waypoint. So it says now that you're going to CHSTR which is the name of the waypoint, but it's actually the waypoint to the runway. So as you reach it, it will say RW 14R, runway 14 right. Our radio's on, our GPS is fine, our 2D cockpit is fine. And you'll hear this radio talks over, you'll hear these chats over the radio. I would not pay attention to them because it's not an online game or anything. When I play online, it's more fun because you actually talk to real people with microphone. You ask for takeoff permission, for landing permission. They give you the runway. They can tell you that you're on hold. Please increase your altitude and just hang around the airport until you're cleared to land. So now, what about this? We're not actually down here. The thing is, you have to control your altitude and your speed when you'll be approaching Chicago O'Hare International. So as you approach, of course, logically, you would decrease the altitude and would decrease the speed. And as you close to it, you'll have to turn off your autopilot, and you will have land manually. So now, not to screw up, when you will be turning your autopilot, my controller isn't right in a down position. So what it will do, if I turn on autopilot, it will just go straight away to up like crazy, and you won't be able to land properly. So from now on, it will not do anything to the airplane now, because the airplane is controlled by the autopilot. You have to put it in the middle position where it was before. So pretty much like this. Yeah, pretty much like this. Perfect. So when you turn off the autopilot, it will stay on the altitude that it is now, and then you can actually control it to decrease or to increase, to ascend. Now the scenery, look at this beautiful airport here. I think this Microsoft has done an incredible job in completing up this scenery and engineering this old aircrafts and airplanes. And FS Passengers, which is a third-party software for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004 and Microsoft Flight Simulator X, is an additional software that will actually, what it makes, it adds passengers to your airplane, like real passengers. And if you're in the passenger cabin view, like here, you'll actually hear the background chats of passengers chatting around. When you land, they'll clap you. When you land hard, they will actually shout or whatever. So it's kind of fun, but I don't know why it's not compatible with my version of Microsoft Flight Simulator X. So let's open up GPS and see where we are now. Alright, we're making our way to here. We have 9 minutes left until we reach here. Now I would decrease the speed, because in a matter of time we'll be turning and I don't want our plane to overturn. So I would set it to 280, and I'll decrease my altitude to 2,200. Let's do 2,000. 2,000. So the purple bar that you see on your radar right over here is the runway that you're landing onto. So when you're landing, your autopilot, before you actually turn it off, it has to make sure that this purple bar is perfectly aligned with the U, which is right over here. So you have to be perfectly aligned with this purple bar, which should be here, not parallel, but on yours, on this white triangle. And if you're here, then you're doing very fine. If you're not, then you have problems. And you have either control with autopilot, or if it's not too off, you have to do it manually. So I think in a minute of time it will turn and make its way to the runway. Now in a standard way, you would ask for permission um, for the runway to land on, but I won't do that. Just in case you want to do that, you can actually put the tilt button right in the bottom of escape, and you can actually select the airport that you would like to contact to. Now flying really low, really like incredibly low. This is not acceptable in the real world, but why I'm doing that is because you can actually see the scenery, you can have the idea of what it is on the ground, and yeah, you can have a better idea what's the game is all about, because the game is 11 gigs, I think. The deluxe version is 11 gigs, plus there's acceleration pack, which will actually improve your airplane quality and add some airplanes up to the game. So I would decrease my speed to 250, and I would open up the flaps, which is shift 4 to 17%. And this is the view from the tower. I don't know which tower it is, but it looks cute. See how low we're running? It's it's amazing. You can change now. To change the camera, change the main cameras, you have to press S button. To change the secondary cameras in the camera, you have to press A button, which are right near each other. So let's see what's going on here. Alright, our airplane is making its way to CHSTR. And it should turn now. Why it's not turning? I don't know. Now never anticipate the needs of your airplane. Whatever it says, just do that. Like, if you see that it's not turning, don't turn off the autopilot and turn manually. It will not work out anyways, because autopilot is something different, and if it's not turning, but it says that it will turn, then it will turn. Believe me, but it is as it is. Alrighty. So, I will descend to 1,500, and I will decrease my speed to 200.
Sync rate.
Oopsies.
Pull up. Sync rate.
So it actually said my mistake now. It said that sync rate is too low, and I'm going down. So 2,200, and I'll open up my flaps more. So there's 50. No, so there's 3 is fine. So there's 3. Let's zoom in. Let's see how the plane is doing here. So it's actually not the image that is seen on the zoomed out version. So it has still pretty much pretty decent way to go. 6 minutes and 24 miles. So on that case, you would request the permission to land in the desired airport. I usually do it in 35-40. But it depends on you, how busy you are, what are you doing, and when the times comes up, when, I don't know, whatever. smaller for you so you can see what's going on here. Now in several minutes we should hear beep sounds. Beep 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 beep. Something like this. Oh, here we are. Here we are. It is here. What it means that the radio frequencies that you set it up on your takeoff is actually found, and the airplane is now connected to the runway, like physically. Through the systems. Now, as soon as you land, you have to press and hold F2, which will activate your reverse in your engines and help your airplane to stop. And you have to use your brakes, which is full stop. And after you're on the gate, you have to use the parking brakes, which is control F stop, control full stop. Sorry, but I won't go to the gate now. I will just land if it turns out very well. And then I'll say goodbye to you. But that's the purpose of the tutorial. Actually, going to the gate is not very hard. You just have to request which gate are you going to, and it's useless when you don't have passengers. If it's passengers, then yes, then you can go to the gate. You can see the reactions. You can do everything. So we can see that the airplane is turning right now, making its way to the runway. Zoom out, zoom in, right to the airplane. Alright, so we can see that it is more aligned with the runway. I think I already see the runway. I think something blimping up here. I don't know. So let's see. How's it? Alrighty, so it is pretty much aligned. Now it needs to turn one more time. And it will be just perfect. So I will decrease. I hope that my sync rate won't go too much. I'll make it 210. Still aligned. Let's see what our flaps onto. And now as soon as it reaches the purple line here, it will change its destination waypoint. It will say Air W 14 right, 14R, and it will be right. So this is our runway. The green bars mean that you're actually entering into the airspace of the runway and you're actually landing or taking off. all these are runways in Chicago here. So it should change now. Alright, I can see the runway here. So let's see. It is still not aligned. I don't know why. It's over here. And we can see the airplane taking off there. Airbus. It's just taking off. It just took off. So let's actually decrease our altitude. Take off our gears, very important. So pressing G button on your keyboard will take off your and take inside your landing gear. Let's open up our flaps to 50%.
Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate.
So why was I saying sink rate? Because my flaps were actually by mistake. I closed my flaps. Alright, so we're pretty much here. So now it's a very crucial moment where you have to turn off your autopilot. You have to turn off your autopilot. Let's turn it off. And here we are. We landed. It might be too hard landing, and we're pressing F2 and holding it down, which will activate the I will activate the reverse. And we have to turn off auto throttle. Alright, we're in Chicago O'Hare International. Welcome to Chicago. The weather here is around 25 degrees in Celsius. It's pretty nice weather. The local time is 5 a.m. and your gate is 32A. Please make sure you don't forget any luggage in the airplane. And thank you for flying with Chicago Airlines or American Airlines or whatever. Alright guys, so that is pretty much it. It might be not the best landing that I've ever had, but we still made it. I think the landing is most important. The most hard thing to do in Flight Simulator, but you can do it. You can manage it after trying several times. So make sure you subscribe, like this video, leave a comment. Maybe you need some other tutorials. I'll make sure that I at least try to do them. And thanks for watching this video. Share, like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you guys. It was Farid Musabaf with you. I hope to see you soon. Thanks. Bye.